What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Goku Running Talks Tuesday. In this video, we're talking about the 5 things that I wish I knew before I ran a marathon. So if you guys don't know, I will be running the Houston Marathon in January. It was actually the first marathon that I ever ran back in 2010. I was excited for it. I did the training and I got my goal time of 4:58, which I was super happy with. The Houston Marathon has a special place in my heart because it's my first one and I really enjoyed it. The organization is great for it. The spectators come out, the volunteers are out there, so it's just a really great race experience. And if you haven't ran the Houston Marathon, I suggest you put that on your bucket list. Since that first Houston Marathon, I've ran almost 20 marathons, so I've experienced a lot of marathons, and I'm gonna tell you what I wish I knew before I ever ran my first one. So the first thing that I wish that I knew before I ever ran a marathon is how long a marathon actually is. I know that it's 26.2 miles, but you know, most training plans only have you running up to 20 miles, and then there's those last 6 miles, and that's all unknown territory to a lot of first-time marathoners. They say that the first 20 miles is the warm-up, the last 6 miles is the race. That's really where you make or break your race, so you have to really concentrate and train for the last 6.2 miles. You know, I trained for my first marathon, and I wanted a goal time of sub 5, and I got it. I got 4:58, and that's because I trained for the race. When you train for the marathon, you experience all of the pain and agony of those last few miles, so you're ready for it when you go out there and you can push yourself. During the marathon time, you'll also be a little bit more excited, a little more adrenaline pumping through you, so that's also to get you through those last 6 miles. But if you're not trained for the marathon, you won't enjoy that last 6 miles because you won't be ready for it. For a half marathon, you get by with subpar training, but for a marathon, it will expose all of the lack of training, especially those later miles, because if you don't train right, you will be walking, you will be not getting your goal time. So make sure you train for your marathon so you get your goal time, because 26.2 is a long way to go. The second thing that I wish I knew before I ran a marathon was about pickle juice. So why pickle juice? For me, pickle juice really helps stop those cramps. It helps get me past whatever cramps I have. I've been carrying pickle juice for my runs just so I could prevent those cramps. Maybe it's not pickle juice for you, maybe it's goo, maybe it's bananas, maybe it's Oreos, whatever it is, you have to figure out what it is before race day that will stop those cramps, because you never know what's gonna happen to you on race day. And if pickle juice is what helps you stop cramping, you bring that pickle juice for your runs and do well on your race. So the third thing that I want to talk about is autopause on your Garmin. You know, a lot of people like to use autopause on their Garmin because maybe it makes you look better on Strava or Facebook that I ran 8 miles at a 9-minute pace. But in reality, you stopped a few times for water, to tie a shoe, to go to the restroom, whatever it is. But in a race, there is no autopause. You are timed by your chip. So why train with autopause when you can't pause the race? So it's just better to not train with autopause, because you know what, at a race you can't autopause. You know, for me, I actually ran my Houston Marathon and I had autopause on, and I was like, man, my Garmin time is not matching up with my chip time. So I was really disappointed with me not having accurate Garmin time because I put autopause. So don't train with autopause, don't put it in your watch. There's no point in having autopause. It might make you feel good, but it's not reality. Live in reality and don't use autopause when you train. So the fourth thing I want to talk about is the race distance. It is 26.2 miles, and races have their races certified by the USATF, which is the United States Track and Field Association, and they measure the course accurately so that it is 26.2. That's what it's going to be. And sometimes when you run the race, your Garmin is not going to be as accurate as you think it's going to be. You might actually run more or less than what your Garmin says. You know, when I ran Houston Marathon, I was probably at 26.2 with half a mile more to go. And I was like, man, what's going on? I'm already done and I still have to try to get my goal time. You only get a PR not by your watch, but it's by the course. The course is running long or short, it doesn't matter. It's certified by the USATF, so go by the course time, not your watch distance. Like I said, chip time and course distance is what your true time is gonna be. Make sure to know that, and don't slow down. Once you reach 26.2, your time is gonna be what the course is and what the chip time says. The fifth thing that I want to talk about is about after the race. You know, after I ran my first marathon, I got home and I slept. I relaxed the whole day and just didn't move. And because of that, you know, the next day I suffered. There is such a thing called active recovery. That's when you actually move around after a race. You really don't want to be just stagnant and laying around after you ran a long distance, because everything will get stiff, all that lactic acid will build up, and man, you will feel it for the next few days. You want to try to move around. You can rest for a little bit, but make sure you do an active recovery where you're walking around, getting on a bike, doing a little movement so you get that blood flowing, get everything flushed out of your system after you do that race so you're not hurting. So this is an extra thing that I wish that I knew before I ran a marathon. Number 6, this is that I wish I knew that I would be addicted to marathon after I ran my first one. Once you experience that 26.2 miles and you ran the thing, you get your medal, you finish, you feel that sense of accomplishment of finishing the race. You're so excited, you want to sign up for another one. And you know, that's what I did. So far, I've ran 20 marathons, I've done a few ultras, and I've become addicted to running, and that's a great thing. And you know, you guys should know that after you start that domino effect of pushing that first domino, you're going to be running lots of marathons over your lifetime, and you'll be having a great time and enjoying yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on what I wish I knew before I ran a marathon. Subscribe to my channel if you want to, like if you wish, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.